everybody, welcome. Today we are going to head inside the parks and we're going to check out all the new construction that's happening around Halloween Horror Nights 33. And along the way we're going to talk about some of the latest speculation of all the things that are going to be happening. And I have got some great stuff to talk about. So if you are excited about Halloween Horror Nights 33, come along. It's going to be an awesome day. All right, here we go. Right at the entrance, we've already got our first glimpses of Halloween Horror Nights. Decorations and construction happening here. We've got some light trusses, some of these light poles. We've got a couple of them right here. This will obviously be a lot of lighting effects, a lot of fog machines and things that are happening here to kind of put you right in the mood before you even enter into the park. Plus there's usually a lot of people standing here waiting to get in this area, believe it or not. It comes all the way out here, and this whole area will be filled across that bridge. So that's good to see. Already got some light poles and we haven't even gone in yet. So let's go. All right, we are in, and I have to say I just stepped through the gates and I'm already melting. It is so hot out here. It's gonna be warm here in the middle of the day in the summer in Florida. But I am excited to check out all the new things that are happening here. So right now I'm actually walking in the central area, right when you first walk in, which is where the first scare zone is actually gonna be for this year. Right now we're just kind of assuming sort of a Horrors of Halloween type experience or theme in this space. We'll see, we may find out differently, but usually this central area here in the front is all about kind of like Halloween, sort of normal Halloween type things, pumpkins and things like that. So we'll find out. And right now I'm not really seeing much in the way of construction in this space, but this is usually not in here this early. We don't really see much in this space yet. But we're gonna head over here, we're gonna take a right, head down towards ET, and this is one of the big scare zones for the year. And right now what we're speculating in this spot, it looks like we might actually be getting a Horrors of Blumhouse type scare zone, which I think will be the first Blumhouse scare zone that they've ever had. We've had Horrors of Blumhouse houses in the past, but I don't think we've ever had a scare zone that I can recall. And we are supposedly getting a Blumhouse house this year, which is to be Insidious, and we'll go over there in just a second and talk about that one. While we're over here, I want to stop in here at the Five and Dime and check out some of the new Halloween Horror Nights merchandise that they've just put out. Now the latest IP house that's been revealed has been Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which we were speculating, we had it on our map. We kind of knew Ghostbusters was coming. I was saying it was going to be based off the Frozen Empire movie because we hadn't seen a code house yet in any of the speculation that we've done. Almost always seem to have a code house, so I was figuring Ghostbusters Frozen Empire was going to be it this year, and sure enough, they finally just revealed that a few days ago, so I am excited, and they have some merchandise in here, so let's check it out. Now, I actually haven't seen this movie yet, so any of these things, I don't really know what they are, if I'm being totally honest. I still need to see the movie, but I see Slimer, so I mean, I know who Slimer is, but let's see what all they got. They got some hats, Frozen Empire hats, they've got a shirt, they've got Stay Puffed here, it's pretty neat. I am a big fan, it says Bluetooth plush speaker. Oh wow, you can actually use this as a speaker. Take it to the pool. 39 bucks, not too shabby. Now I'm a big fan of Ghostbusters actually, so I am so glad that Ghostbusters is making its way back around. Some sort of throw here. And then they have a tumbler. Let's see, how much is that, 25? Oh, there you go for all you Tumbler fans. There's another one to put on your shelf somewhere. What else do we have? Well, I think that's all the Ghostbusters merchandise that I see. Hat, shirt, the throw, plushie, and a tumbler. But they do have some of this merchandise still here, Where Horror Lives, the sort of default Halloween Horror Nights 33 merchandise for 2024. Okay, here we go. I knew there was the rest of this, so they still have it chilling right here. None of this is new. This has been out for quite a while, but just kind of shows off the theming and stuff of Halloween Horror Nights. Some of the different things that you can grab. Hey, what's that? That's random. But I also see they also have the Quiet Place merch over here, which was the first IP house that they had actually formally introduced and released. So they've got this here. How much is this shirt? Quiet Place, $33. And now what's interesting is this Quiet Place house is based on the first 2 movies. It's not actually based on that sort of new beginning movie that actually is going to be out in June, which is right now. It's actually out. Also, see, we have a mug here. Quiet Place. We'll actually walk over to where the Quiet Place and the Ghostbusters houses are going to be, and I'll kind of show you those in just a little bit. More Halloween Horror Nights merchandise. This is the newer version of the theme for the year. So I'm seeing a few things here. Little Boo right here. Little Boo making his return, of course. Or her, or I don't actually know what Little Boo is, to be honest. There's a spider. That's Major Sweet's hat back there. So again, we're definitely see the Major Sweets house this year. Still trying to figure out who the icon is for the year. Could be Major Sweets. But definitely seeing his hat tucked away in there, kind of hidden. And there's a little candy corn right there, so you can kind of see that's definitely Major Sweets back there. You get a little Boo coaster here, and a Little Boo ornament right here. So if you're a fan, you can actually put it on the tree. All right, let's keep on cruising down here. Actually, right up here, like I said, this is predicted to be the Blumhouse scare zone, so things like Megan, Insidious, etc., Black Phone. We may be seeing a lot of different, like the Grabber, different characters from the Blumhouse productions in this one particular scare zone, which could be pretty cool. But right up here is the Megan Horde location, which makes sense because obviously Megan is a Blumhouse production. This is where they were last year, and this particular area could be Blumhouse, so it kind of bleeds straight over into Megan. So it could actually make a lot of sense for these things to be back to back right next to each other. Trying to see if I see any construction at all around this area, but I don't see any. These lights and things are always here because of the parades, and then they have lights and things over here for the Megan Horde, so those are still here, but not any new construction or new building. All right, I do actually see some new stuff here. So we're actually getting our first glimpse, other than the stuff at the entrance. We're getting our first glimpse at some of the things, the trusses and light poles that they're actually putting up for this particular scare zone here by the, right next to the new Sensational show. Now, we're kind of tentatively referring to this area as some sort of Night of the Dead, Day of the Dead area. We'll see. I don't know, it keeps kind of changing, but we're starting to see some lights, so let's take a look. Right here's one of the big light poles. You can already see it stood up here. And this particular horror scare zone is usually very compact. It's not very big, it's kind of small, it's very narrow. There's usually a lot of things along the sides here, and there's this little narrow, so it ends up being really one of the scariest areas of Halloween Horror Nights, in my opinion. And there's actually quite a few poles up here. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 or 8 of them. So they're really starting to put them up already. And I expect in the next couple of weeks, we're actually going to start to see some of the facades and things being built up here and kind of blocking these spaces. But this is nice. This is good. This is good news. And we're going to head over here towards the DreamWorks area. So, because I want to kind of talk and show this particular space. This is really where a couple of the entrances for the haunted houses have been in previous years. But we're not actually getting any entrances in this location because they got rid of the parade warehouses this year. There's 2 parade warehouses that they usually use for the haunted houses. This year they are not using them. They're putting up 2 new sprung tents. So the entrances back here at DreamWorks Land by E.T., there aren't going to be any things back here. So yeah, just looking around, obviously there's nothing here. It's all normal, no changes, but just an FYI, there will be no entrances for the houses this year in this space, so you don't need to even go over here. You can head straight over by Men in Black. Just skip this area entirely. Because Men in Black, that space is going to be where the entrances for I think around 4 of the houses are going to be Men in Black on either side of it. All right, I want to really quickly head up to the Animal Actors Pavilion here, the Animal Actors show, because you can actually get a pretty good shot of a few of the sprung tents. Okay, so this particular facade that we could see sort of through the cracks. It's not an amazing view of the location, but it's pretty good. That particular facade is what we believe is the Museum Deadly Exhibits house for the year, which we were originally hoping was some sort of like Egyptian or mummy, maybe even mummy IP type house, but it ended up just being a museum. So I don't know if it's going to be great or not. We don't know. Sounds kind of cool. But out front of it, you can kind of see this like brick facade with these archways and things like that. So we'll find out. We'll see a little bit more. We'll keep checking up on the progress where it starts to come together. But so far, it looks pretty good on the outside. I'm glad that they're adding the facades out front of the sprung tents. I think that's one of the biggest issues that I had specifically with getting rid of some of the parade warehouses and going all in on sprung tents this year, is that they've got sound stages, they've got parade warehouses, but the sprung tents tend to be a little bit smaller, more compact, and usually they don't put some of the bigger, most amazing, successful houses in the sprung tents. I'm not saying that there aren't some amazing houses in the sprung tents, because that's where they end up being actually really good ones. Like Darkest Steel last year was a great one, and it was in a sprung tent. But they usually put a lot of the IPs and stuff over in the big soundstage area. So what ends up happening is that a lot of the big IP houses, they actually get a very large facade. And you're probably asking yourself, what do you mean facade? Because like something, basically an entrance, if you will. And you're probably saying, well, I've been to the parade warehouses, I've been to the sound stages, and I don't know what you're talking about facade, because usually there's just like a little sign before the entrance of the door, or maybe there's some sort of like big poster on the outside. But that's because the facade is actually on the inside of the building. So that as soon as you walk into the building, there's this giant facade, usually like a huge house or a structure or a boat of some kind, that basically is the entrance into the house. And so when it's an inside building, they can do a lot with that facade. When it's a sprung tent building, they tend to do a lot smaller things. They try to do their best with creating some sort of facade to get you excited as you're going into the house. But there's only so much they can do given the weather, things getting rained on, obviously storms, winds, and things like that. They can do a lot more with the facades in the big sound stages and parade warehouses than they can in sprung tents. But that's the big difference. When you go to a sprung tent, you'll notice there's all this cool like architecture outside in front of it. Whereas when you go to the parade warehouse or the sound stages, it just looks like a big box until you get inside. And while I've been talking, we made our way over here to Men in Black. And right here next to the Coca-Cola store, this will likely be the entrance to the museum deadly exhibits. So we've sort of arced our way around, which means it's right back there behind those trees and bushes. You can't really see it very well. I can kind of peek through and see some stuff a little bit. But I can actually see the brick structures kind of right back there. It's hard to see through the trees with the camera, but the museum one there, this one right over here, the entrance, will be Slaughter Cinema 2, which is the most exciting one. I'm not seeing any, you know what, let's just go over and take a peek. But I'm not seeing anything out front just yet. But usually I don't really see much here because they just kind of wheel out the wait time or the sign. Okay, I see a couple of things. I see some light poles and things, but not too much that you can see over there. Let's head over here to the other side of Men in Black, because I want to check out the two sprung tents on this side. Usually you can see them pretty reasonably. This is where Goblin's Feast is, and our predicted Universal Monsters house. So we're going to check that out. Well, I can kind of see a little construction arm over there that's probably doing some work for the sprung tents. Can't really see that much back there. Let me see if I can go around and get a better view. So I came over here by the Nightmare Fuel location, and I was able to actually see back there a little bit better. I couldn't really get a good video of it, but I did see some light poles standing up, so it wasn't super interesting, so I didn't bother getting a shot of it. But this location is again speculated to once again have the Nightmare Fuel show right behind me here. This giant arena. I think it's a pretty safe bet that we're going to get that again this year. I'm looking inside of the show building here, and you can actually see some house structures up there at the top that have been built and created for the show. So it should be kind of an interesting, not sure what they're going to do with that, but it looks kind of cool. I'm seeing what looks like maybe another building, like a roof to a building on this side too. I can't tell. It might just be a tarp hanging down, but I can't really make it out. So on our way over here towards the Wizarding World, I'm seeing some more light poles that are actually going up. Now there is no scare zone right here in this particular location. These poles and things are really just for lighting and fog effects as you're kind of exiting the Nightmare Fuel show and heading towards other locations. I'm seeing a couple of light poles in this area, and usually they have some food booths right in this section. So there will be maybe one or two food booths for Halloween Horror Nights sitting in this area. And sometimes they have some sort of display, like past years they've had like a Chucky kind of display that you could interact with and take pictures with, kind of right in this space. I'm seeing a couple of light trusses, and that's about it right here. Now we're going to skip right through this particular area, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Diagon Alley, because there is nothing here for Halloween other than the Death Eater show, which we do expect to be returning this year. So they'll be on that little stage, they'll come out, there'll be fog and lighting effects and things like that. But there's really nothing else in this space to check out, so we're gonna skip right by it. All right, here we go. We got more trusses. Actually, I was looking, is that the right word, trusses or truss? Is that like a plural? Is it like the deers thing? I don't know, I'm bad at that. So this is an area right here where there is usually on the other side of this building, there is kind of like a bar scene back there that they have for Halloween Horror Nights that they introduced last year or the year before. I can't remember how long it's been there. But I'm not seeing any like things being built for the entrance of that just yet. But on our way towards New York here, we're headed over to the Fast and Furious space. And I'm seeing lots of lighting poles and things starting to be built. So it looks like we've got 3 at least. And this is probably the smallest scare zone of all the scare zones. And right now we are tentatively saying that we think this is going to be some sort of childlike area, whether it's some sort of dolls or stuffed animals, a child's play type zone. That's what it's looking like this space is going to be. We really don't have more details than that. But they have a few of the light poles. So we will be coming back to these areas here in a couple of weeks to see what progress they've made, because usually about a month prior is when they have a lot of stuff up. So we're really getting a sneak preview today. All right, we made it to Fast and Furious, and this particular location usually doesn't have much to look at. So I'm going to assume it's going to be kind of a bust hanging over here. But we will talk about what is supposed to be here, and that is the Major Sweets Candy Company haunted house. Will be in this space as per our prediction. But I'm not seeing any construction back here because you really can't see it because it basically goes over there. There's really not a lot to look at. But nothing up here just yet. But as I mentioned earlier, that Major Sweets could actually end up being the icon this year because we're seeing them in a lot of stuff. I've been kind of predicting that for a while actually, that Major Sweets could be the icon this year. Also thought it could have something to do with the usher as the icon for the year because of Slaughter Cinema 2 and the merchandise, which I kind of talked about before. If you kind of look at a lot of the merchandise, it's got that skull and that flaming skull head with the lasers and the mohawk and everything, which has been on a lot of the merchandise as the theme, kind of the theme for the year. And that's the main character from Slaughter Cinema 2, so something around the usher and the cinema. Usher is an icon. He could easily be the one for the year, but I don't know. We're just not getting a lot of information on it, so we'll have to wait a little bit longer and see if we're right. So we're back here in the little alleyway. I can't really go any further because there's actually a sign that says no through traffic, and I think it's because of it's blocked off over there for the parade stuff and for the light show they're building, but I can already see some boxes and things formulating over here, where there, as usually in the last couple of years, they've had a few different like little booths back here for food, like the Meats Locker. They had the Last of Us area back here where you could buy sort of the Fedra food cans and things of different stuff. So I'm seeing some boxes back here, some things that are already starting to take shape. I really want to see what's back there, so maybe we'll go around and see if we can find anything. Maybe we'll go around and we'll see if we can see anything from that angle, but it looks pretty cool so far. All right, we've now made it to the New York area. This is actually the largest scare zone in the park. By far, it's a huge scare zone. The second largest is going to be the one over there by the Bourne Identity show over there, the old Terminator building. Hey, we got some characters from The Mummy out here. I'm trying to see if I can see any construction at this point. It's looking a little light, but I think we'll find some stuff. So usually there will be some sort of stage here. Now, what is this scare zone? What are we thinking this is going to be? Originally, I was thinking it was going to be some sort of Major Sweets revision, maybe a Sweet Revenge type scare zone, based on Major Sweets maybe becoming the icon this year of some kind, or being the main character for the year. But now again with Slaughter Cinema 2 coming, we may be getting something here that is related to Slaughter Cinema, like a Yeti zone or maybe a Devil Dogs zone. Now there was speculation last year, or was it the year before? Man, I get them all mixed up, where Devil Dogs was potentially going to be a house, and that ended up being Hell Block Horror instead. And that Hell Block Horror was not good. It was a last minute ad. It wasn't good. So I think they should have done a Devil Dogs because it would have been better. But Devil Dogs originates from Slaughter Cinema as one of those ideas that never actually got created. It was one of those movies that was put into Slaughter Cinema. So we may actually be getting a Devil Dogs scare zone this year, and this could potentially be the location for it. Well, I came back here. There's an annual pass merchandise sale back here right now. You can kind of see I walked through there. You had to have an annual pass to get back here. But I am seeing some trusses back here too. There's one right there, and then there's one over on this side as well. And this will actually be the entrance for 2 or 3 of the houses, depending on how they have the ropes going this year. And that's going to be Triplets of Terror is going to be back here, and Insidious, potentially Ghostbusters as well, but I have a feeling that's going to be entrance there through the Jimmy Fallon building as usual. But those are the sound stages back there where the houses will be. You really can't ever see anything back there because there's nothing to see because it's on the other side. The entrances are on the other side of that building, and really there's never anything there besides a door. As I said earlier, the facade is actually on the inside of the building, so there's nothing to see over there. Now this area right here, the Jimmy Fallon area, this should actually be the entrance to the Ghostbusters house, if we're correct as far as where it's going to be. So the entrance for that house will actually be right back here. You kind of zip through there, and then you'll get into that sound stage in the back. Well, let's keep on cruising because I want to talk about the other IPs up here, the ones that are known and the ones that we're still speculating. See if we can find any clues or construction up here. Now there are only 2 houses that are unaccounted for at this point that we don't know for sure. One of which was the Universal Monsters, which I said was back there by Men in Black, so we don't know for sure, but there's always a Universal Monsters one, so it's a pretty safe bet. Could be an all-female cast this year, could be something cool around that, we'll see. And then Insidious is yet to be announced, which will be the Blumhouse house this year. I don't know how to say that without saying two houses right in a row. But basically that is TBD. Insidious Red Door possibly, because we always have a Blumhouse. Now, will suddenly something change and we don't actually get a Blumhouse haunted house this year, and we actually only get a scare zone? Could be. We could be wrong about that, but right now we're predicting Insidious. Now this entrance over here, which could also be winding over here to this side, but basically this entrance here at the stage area, that's what we're saying is going to be the Quiet Place location. We know that's an official house, and this should be the location for it. Again, not seeing any construction out here because there really isn't anything, usually, because everything's back there in the sound stages. Well, we finally made it all the way around the loop, and we are here at Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem, and this is actually the location for the final house entrance, which is right over here, which is going to be Monsters of Latin America, which we've said before is essentially a copy or sort of a redo of the one that was in Hollywood last year. And while I have not personally been able to do Monstrous because we did not go to the Hollywood Halloween Horror Nights last year, I heard that it was basically House of the Year down there. It's supposed to be pretty cool house, so I'm kind of excited about the fact that it's coming here. Now, one of the things that they have not announced, and I'm actually surprised about this, is what's going to go on with the Water Lagoon show. There's been a lot of speculation that there might not actually be a water show this year, which I think will be disappointing because I will say, Sensational, the water/drone laser fireworks show that they have here, which is phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, check that video out. I'll link to it below. It's phenomenal. Like, they just did such an amazing job with that. I was floored by how good it was. But I really love the water shows that they do on the lagoon for Halloween Horror Nights. It's just a lot of fun. And they haven't announced anything. And I did talk to the director of the Sensational, and he told me that they are actually working on a phase 2 of Sensational. So this one that's out right now is basically a phase 1. He said a phase 2 might actually be coming sometime in November. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to assume phase 2 means better than phase 1. And phase 1's phenomenal, so I don't really know what else you could do. I tried to get out of him whether he thought there was going to be anything for Halloween Horror Nights, and he was very tight-lipped. So I don't know if there will be. So for now, we've left it on our speculation map that there might be a show. I'm really hoping for one because obviously the lagoon is ready. and they can do a show there. It just depends on if they want to do one. Maybe it doesn't have to have the drones. It could just be maybe a water and projection show, but not sure. Not sure if we're going to get it. So stay tuned on that one. We just don't know yet. All right, so that's everything that we've seen, and it's great because actually in this shot I can even see the construction right behind me here at the entrance. But there's a pretty good amount of stuff in there already. We've already got some light poles, some fog stuff going up, some of the construction there at the actual Nightmare Fuel show. You can even see some of the facade there for potentially the museum house. So I'm excited. We've nailed most of the things on our speculation map. I'll throw it up one more time because again, this is the whole thing. You can see all the houses, all the speculation on the scare zones, the shows, everything that we know about. We're gonna keep updating you, so be sure to keep checking back on this channel. Let us know what you think about Halloween Horror Nights, any of the speculation that we've missed, or any of the information that we're just wrong about. Love to hear from you because we're not perfect. So be sure to like, subscribe, share, and until we see you next time, the Noble Way is the easy way. Bye-bye, everybody.